the thing we're really concerned about is the fact that at the same time as not building enough houses, we've also got an affordability crisis. A lot of people stuck for very long periods of time, paying very high levels of rent. They're not a credit risk at all. In fact, they're a good bet when it comes to credit, but they just can't qualify for mortgages. And that's one reason why we say that the government ought to be introducing a form of mortgage insurance along the lines of other countries in order to help people make that leap into home ownership. And if they won't, Labour will.
It might be something to criticise, abandoning a policy or a target, but if the government were never ever reaching it, is it actually honest to say that we don't have that target anymore, but still try to address the problem?
Well, I mean, that would be fine if they were still trying to address the problem. But the truth is, they haven't been trying to address the problem for a very long time. We looked at the numbers of people who were able to get onto the housing ladder from a decade ago, and we looked at the more recent figures, and on current trends, as you said in your intro, only 1 in 3 children born today will be able to have the security of their own home by the age of 50. It's something that I've been able to do. It's something that a lot of people in this country used to be able to do and expected their children to be able to do. But in the last decade, we've seen home ownership rates falling quite substantially. And now we've got a home ownership rate that is at a generational low. We think that's unacceptable. We think that those families and young people should have the chance to have the security of their own home. And there are measures that the government could take right now in order to achieve it. Restoring housing targets will be one way, but there are other ways as well, including facing down their own backbenchers and winning the argument that housing needs to be built.
You say that the government, would be fine them abandoning the target if they were actually doing something. Conservative proposals under Michael Gove did in fact include a mortgage guarantee scheme for loan to values of up to 95%, and that scheme has been extended. The Conservatives have argued that that will help people, obviously, who only have a 5% deposit onto the property ladder. That's something, isn't it?
Well, the trouble is you've got to tackle supply and demand. So under George Osborne, we had a scheme called Help to Buy, which aimed to help people who were struggling with the affordability side onto the housing ladder. But the problem was that because the government was consistently missing its house building targets, not least because its backbenchers were very dismissive of the need for new housing and very keen not to see it in their own constituencies, we ended up with a situation where house prices were being inflated.
Yeah.
It became harder and harder for people to get onto the housing ladder. That's why we say you've got to tackle supply and demand together.